Hi everyone, this is Noah Sandler from Mtgo Academy, and today we're going to be doing Shadows over Innistrad 8.4. So let's jump into queue. Okay, so there's a From Under the Floorboards, which is a pretty strong card. Incorrigible Youths is probably the next best card. So we're going to pass that and a Duelist, so some aggressive red cards. Floorboards works well in any black deck, and it has Madness, but I found just casting it for 5 is about as good as you can do with it. Unless if you have free discard outlets, because if you have to like Tormenting Voice, you're spending 2 mana, and then you need to pay an extra 5 on top of that, so it's 7 mana to get the same number of zombies in life. So usually just cast it. But yeah, also pass in a Village Messenger, Inspiring Captain, generally weak pack overall. And I would expect to see Sanitarium Skeleton or Vampire Noble come back. Alright, there's a Murderous Compulsion. It's the best card in an overall weak pack. Throbbing Inspector is fine. Explorers is okay too. And yeah, not really, like, none of these cards are strong enough to really send a signal to the person on our left, so it just leaves things kind of open at the moment, but we'll stick with black. So there's Drug Cavalry, Reaper of Flight Moonsilver, Stitch Mangler, Rancid Rats, Quilled Wolf. I do like black-white actually a pretty good amount, with both tokens and delirium. And between the cavalry and the Reaper, I think they're very close. Feel like leaning towards the Reaper, but yeah, black-white deck can be a bit more controlling, and cavalry could be better in that deck. I guess I'll take the cavalry, but I think it's very close. Sometimes the Reaper is all you need. Like, it's big enough where it pretty much demands a removal spell, or it can just win a game by itself. Cavalry, long game, the ability could be pretty nice also. It is a bigger body, it survives Fiery Temper, so I'll try Cavalry. Since we're starting with some like controlling black cards right now, I think this could be a good fit for it. So we have a Moorland Drifter or Twins of Mauer Estate. I usually like Twins better. We've got 2 Madness cards, so we could pick up some Enablers. So yeah, I'll take the Twins. I mean, we're probably gonna, if we are black-white, we'd probably have some Delirium synergy, so Drifter would be a little more likely to get flying, but we'll go with Twins. So, I mean, some late Werewolf cards, Heirloom and Kindred. Also, Stitch Mangler, Uncaged Fury. Not really what I want to see here. I expected to see more good black and white. The Heirloom potentially could flip in a black-white deck, so I think that's just the pick. Kindred's not very good in Red-Black Madness, and Fury also I don't think is that great in Red-Black Madness. So I'd like to stick to black-white, but this pack is a little awkward. Mangler I think could also be fine. I just don't like blue-black at all. I suppose this might be a good spot for it. If blue just ends up open, it fits well with the Madness cards. If we get a Reckless Scholar, but I'm going to go with the Heirloom. So True Faith Sensor, Crow of Dark Tidings, or Behind the Scenes. Also a Skeleton, and a Sanguinary Mage. Probably going to take the Censor, or maybe just Crow. I'll probably take Crow, because we're not really in white yet, we just have the Cavalry. And Censor can be good in a black-white deck, but if you're going for Delirium, then Crow is really nice. And then also Behind the Scenes, my opinion of the card is that it's decent. It really depends on the deck you have, but a lot of the black-white decks I have a lot of tokens, and giving all the tokens Skulk means it's really hard for them to be blocked, and then you pump them all. So this can end up giving you a lot of damage, but it's pretty narrow. So Malevolent Whispers, Apothecary Geist, Throbbing Inspector. We're seeing a little bit of the potential madness stuff coming through, but I don't think it's strong enough to move in, and this looks good for white, seeing Inspector and the Geist here. So between Geist and Inspector, I think that's very close. We don't have any other spirits at the moment other than the Cavalry. And if you have Cavalry out, you probably don't care too much about the Geist bonus. I guess you gain 5 life, but I'm going to take an Inspector here. Yeah, Black-White can have ways of pumping up all your creatures, so you get a little extra value of having a 1-2. And there could be some human synergy. Take Militant Inquisitor. We've got potentially 1 equipment already, so it could be okay. And the Vampire Noble came back. Survive the Night, Not Forgotten, Murderer's Axe. I don't mind the Axe, actually. It's another equipment, so that's good for Inquisitor. There's some equipment matters cards we could have. But we do have 3 Madness cards and no enablers, and it's a free enabler, so that's good with from under the floorboards. So we'll take the Axe. And I'll take probably Golem for board against a mill deck. I think Hope against Hope can be good also, if you're burning a bunch of tokens too, but I think we're looking a little more controlling rather than just wanting to stick an aura on the creature and have that be good enough, so we'll go with Golem. Dual Shot, Shard. I played Shard recently and it was decent in a black-white Delirium deck, so I'm going to give that a shot here. Let's hate a name high, I think. And we got the Skeleton back. So, kind of an interesting first pack. For a moment there, it seemed like we were in the perfect spot to get really hooked up with black-white, but the white slowed down a little bit near the end, but then there was also that pack with the Inspector, so things were not too clear on what colors were open. I feel like there's at least 1 white drafter to our right, and here there's an Odric and a Griff's Boon, which are both quite strong. And probably the Odric's going to be the pick. I've had some good success with that card. We've got a couple of flying creatures already. We've got tokens to make the ability giving better. So I'm going to take that, but Boon is also really nice. I guess Boon is not looking amazing in our deck currently, since we're kind of slow and a lot of our creatures have flying already. Relentless Dead, Nearheath Chaplain, Pious Evangel. So Relentless Dead, haven't played with this card yet. We've got an actual zombie and crow, and then from under the floorboards make zombies. So what does this do? When it dies, you can return it to your hand. That's cool. And you can return another zombie from your graveyard to the battlefield. So the card definitely seems good. There's also a Nearheath Chaplain. So does Odric give Menace? Yes, it does. So this pick seems close. I haven't played with Dead yet. Let's see if I can check the... Looks like it's about 1 ticket. But the Chaplain's really nice with the Odric. So this pick seems really close. I think I'm actually going to go with the Chaplain. Though Dead seems really nice, so that seems very close. And I would like to try it out, but I think I'd rather just take what I think is the better card for this deck, and I think that's Chaplain, giving either lifelink or flying for Odric. But I don't know. The Dead gives Menace. It's definitely not as exciting as giving flying to your whole team, because then it's, if you send Odric, they could maybe double block and kill Odric, and then you only get like 1 turn of attacks. Yeah, we'll take a Call the Bloodline here. It's great Madness Enabler, really good with from under the floorboards, and if we go wide for a token theme, also gives lifelink for the Odric, and can enable Delirium, so that's a good card for these types of decks. we'll just take an Apothecary Geist. Not too interested in Stern Constable. There's a Rabid Bite. Another Murderous Compulsion over a second Twins. And a Pale Rider over Gargoyle Macabre Waltz. Gargoyle can definitely be fine, because it can be a finisher. You can trade off early, and then it's good for Delirium. Odric works with Skulk, so that's good. But yeah, Pale Rider, discard outlet. I think that's going to be better. And Necropod versus Deadweight. I mean, this must have been an insane pack. There's also Investigation. So I do really like Necropod. I have taken over Deadweight in the past, but I think Deadweight looks really good here. We have the Compulsions for removal, but that can't always get utility creatures, and getting a Deadweight can help us with Delirium. Right now we have difficulty getting enchantments in the graveyard, so we'll go with that. And we already have a 7-drop, and a good number of 4s and some 5s, so taking Deadweight also keeps our curve down. Okay, Firebog Revenant, Vessel of Ephemera, or Indulgent Aristocrat. Aristocrat with Call to Bloodline is really insane. Reminds me of Pack Rat. I wouldn't play an Aristocrat just for one call. Like, if you get 2 calls, I would definitely play an Aristocrat. So this seems close to me. And then Vessel, we're going wide, puts enchantment in the graveyard, that could be fine. And Revenant also, if you have some ways to pump him, that could be good. So this seems really close. I think Revenant might be the best pick. I'm going to take the Aristocrat just in case if we end up with a second call. But I don't even know if that's the right pick. And we'll take a Wicker Witch, I think, over an early mob. The only thing is right now we don't have any Delirium. So we have no Delirium, so even if we end up with the Delirium card or 2 in the last pack, I don't think we'd want to run Wicker Witch, so I'll take the mob. Since if we're going wide with tokens, mob can be decent. You just jump for a few turns and then just make it large. Okay, we'll take Expose Evil. This could be a good sideboard card. And Mutation versus Vampire Noble. We do have a lot of lifelink already on our creatures. I think I'll take the Noble. We might just want to fill out our curve with more creatures. And I guess a Constable. I don't think we're ever going to run that. Might just hate Dual Shot. Kills some of our creatures like Chaplain, Crow, so wouldn't want to face it. So that was a pretty strong pack. I think we're back on track. Could use a couple like high power cards, so hopefully we open something good or get past something in the first couple packs. But otherwise, I mean, maybe a couple different abilities for Odric. Maybe one more big creature. But the deck's looking pretty good. So, Murderous Compulsion, Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, or Silver Strike. That's interesting. Like, it's a 3rd Compulsion compared to a Silver Strike. It seems like Compulsion's better, and if you have, as long as the creature doesn't have Vigilance, if you have Manus Enablers, it works pretty similarly to Silver Strike. Like, they seem like pretty similar cards, except Compulsion, you don't have to leave up 4 mana to use. So I think I'll take the 3rd Compulsion. And that's really gonna it's gonna force our deck to kind of lean back towards being more defensive. Like, you can't be really aggressive and have a hand with multiple compulsions. And maybe we'll table the Accomplice. I think the Accomplice would be, it might be the best fit for our deck. So you don't want too many compulsions, but I think 3 is okay. Angelic Purge, Forsaken Sanctuary, Inspiring Captain. We'll take the Purge. They're just 2 colors, so getting fixing isn't too important. And yeah, Purge lets us deal with an enchantment. I guess a large vigilance creature. I don't know how many of those there are in this format. But yeah, it's always good to get more removal. Stallion, Behind the Scenes, Ox, Puncturing Light. So do we want Behind the Scenes? It's actually really nice with Call the Bloodline. Good with From Under the Floorboards. I mean, it's good with Odric. You only really want one card like this. Or you just take a Puncturing Light. And I probably just prefer Puncturing Light, and then maybe the Behind the Scenes would table. Because we did already pass one in the first pack, and yeah, no one really wants 2 of these. Unless if you're, like, the entire rest of your deck is all just token creatures that you can play 2. And it's such a narrow card to begin with, so I think there's a good chance it tables. Okay, Bound by Moonsilver, great pickup. So now we've got a lot of removal. Our deck's looking more controlling. It makes getting I think the Cavalry is definitely better than the Reaper at this point. So Neglected Heirloom, there's just nothing to flip it. And I don't think Leon's Scimitar is worth it here. So we'll cut that. The Skeleton with a call can be nice. So we'll probably play Skeleton. I guess I'll take a Captain. Don't want Warp Landscape. Probably not playing Captain. It's nice with tokens, nice with call. And yeah, it's a respectable drop on its own. I think the Murderous Axe can get cut. We have Call, Pale Rider right now for discard outlets. I might like one more, so maybe we'd play Axe. And then the Aristocrat can go because we just have Call. Yeah, not much here. We'll take an Apparatus for board. I suppose I could main it. True Faith Sensor, Ox, Puncturing Light. Ox doesn't look that bad. Second Puncturing Light. I do think the second definitely gets worse than the first. Definitely diminishing returns with that card. True Faith Sensor. Sensor could be good though. So we've got a good number of humans, we have some flyers. We have a lot of removal already, so I think Sensor could be good. And then Ox is close, but we already have enough 4-drops, so, and we have a Twins, which fulfills a similar role, so I'll go for True Faith Sensor. And I guess we'll take the Sanctuary. So at 23 cards, would I want to hate Clip Wings? I don't think so. Can't ever see running Hope, so I'll just hate the Corpse Trawler, and could potentially run Stallion. So yeah, the last pack, it was good enough to fill out our deck. We did get some nice removal spells, the Purge, Bound, Puncturing Light. I was hoping for one more kind of bomby creature, win condition, which we didn't get. It does seem like we were cut a little bit in the last pack. Like we're seeing some really good cards in other colors. But yeah, overall I think it ended up fine. And we're going to have to cut one more card, so probably just Stallion. We can get to Delirium, but we just have better 4-drops, I think. I guess it's maybe Stallion versus Noble. So Noble's just strictly a 3-2 for 3. And our creature count is okay. We've got Floorboards and Call the Bloodline, which gives us 15 creatures if you count those as just one creature. But also the Nearheath Chaplain, the Skeleton, Floorboards, and Call can make multiple creatures. And the Cavalry too. So we have plenty of creatures. Also have the Murderer's Axe. So... but we do have the True Faith Sensor now, so equipment's a little less exciting. Could maybe play an Expose Evil, because I'm not really loving either running like another 3 or 4 drop. I think maybe Noble out and just get Expose Evil in. I think kind of running through our deck quickly is helpful. So we have 2 Manus Enablers. Like the Compulsion doesn't really need the extra like sorcery speed enabler for Murderer's Axe, so I don't think we need to fit that in. Could run an Apparatus. We do have a Deadweight already. So I like Evil, just push through our deck, find our Odric or other removal. And this seems good to me, so let's do the mana base. We have 2 more white cards than black, and black I think is a little more important. But no, we have the Sanctuary, so we'll just go 8 and 8. And submit. So I'll see you for round 1. Okay, ready for round 1. And we'll keep this hand. It's got the nice Inquisitor plus True Faith Sensor combo. Makes it a 5/4 with Vigilance. Magnifying Glass. So I imagine this is like an actual clue deck. So run out Inquisitor. That gives us the most possible damage with the True Faith Sensor, and opponent probably won't be able to play a creature that will stop it next turn. Okay, Apprentice Topplegeist, so it looks like they're doing some kind of delirium thing. And we draw a Call the Bloodline. We're pretty short on mana, so I don't think we'll be using that much soon. Yeah, I think we just put the sensor on here. Seems better than casting Crow. I should leave white mana up for repping Strength. Good, got our 4th land, so that opens things up a little bit. I think we'll attack with Censor. We did pass that Silver Strike, but it's hard for opponent to just throw pump spells at this since we've got 4 mana up. Plus we can't not attack because they just make a clue token, so we have to keep the pressure on. But they kept back Topplegeist. I guess I should have thought about that for a moment, because that's kind of weird. Like, why would you put Topplegeist? Why wouldn't you attack with Topplegeist there? I guess this will explain it. Nope. Just investigate. Okay, I guess they thought that was a better chump than the Accomplice. So I'm thinking maybe Crow, not ready to discard something to the Pale Rider yet, so we'll just go with Crow. It's an expensive JMD tomb. Okay. So black, white, green, Delirium. Sideboard is not very good. There's not too many options. This is just cards from my graveyard, so that shouldn't be too great. I guess against a Delirium deck you could end up in like really long games. I could start recycling removal or something. We'll run it back. I'm not sure yet on how good Expose Evil is going to be, but usually those kinds of decks would have some large creatures like Morkut Necropod or Keswick Dire Swine, so it could be good. And it cycles. Okay, sounds fine. We've got Odric plus a flyer, and removal spell and purge. And I guess a lot of removal, like very defensive, slow removal. But maybe that's how we'll play this game. And another 4-drop. You could go for just discard twins on our next turn, and I think it's hard for that not to be correct. Like, no matter what we draw. Because even with the land, I think twins, like, you could go with, I don't really want to just lead with Odric, and it just gets, it's the first thing you put out, most likely to be removed. So I like just getting the twins out. Where are the twins? What? This works, right? Hold on a sec. Huh. Okay, well, I just hit F2 and I guess that worked. Okay. Sure. I guess I just kept hitting auto yield too, and I imagine it would allow me to just cast it by auto yielding to that trigger, but maybe something about being a cleanup phase changed that. Alright, like, kind of a weird attack here. Maybe it's like a puncturing light or something. I don't really care what it is, I'll just block. I don't care about my twins too much. Throttle, that's totally fine. It protects our Odric. So I'm going to lead with Geist here. I'm just going to keep the Odric back until we can exhaust our opponent of removal. Okay, Captain, so we'll take the hit from the Ghoul. I was going to block if opponent just attacked with it, because Geist also isn't too important. Now we have Captain, Compulsion, Land. I mean, just going with Land, Captain, attack for 3 is pretty good. Could also hold the land, I suppose, but I think I'm going to want to play it. the forest. I think I'll trade with the captain. Or actually, no. Let's yeah, let's block here. And then maybe we go double compulsion next turn. We still have the Angelic Purge left over if opponent has like a really big threat. But that lets us kill the ghoul and then not have to discard one of our cards that are all pretty useful. Though, I mean, do we care about killing the ghoul? It is nice to. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll leave up Puncturing Light. It does use up a lot of a removal, and on cards that aren't that threatening, I suppose. Unfortunately, at the moment they are, I think they're threatening enough that we need to do something about them. And I don't want to lose my whole board to, so that the Odric isn't that significant. I like to keep my creatures alive if possible. Now, I think we attack with Apothecary and put the captain. Could trade Apothecary off also, but I'll just attack with this, and then I'll put captain in front of the noble. Okay, they sack the landscape immediately, and they get a mountain. That's interesting. So it could be like Nahiri. The opponent doesn't attack with the Revenant. Thinking about using Puncturing Light on that. Could just take 3. I don't want to trade. So let's take 3 or use Puncturing Light. And then we might have to purge the Unruly Mob. Take 3, go to 10, play Odric. Basically have to make a similar decision next turn. Though it would be a little bit better because we'd have Odric out. I think we can take the 3 here actually. It would be great if we could get a pump spell out, so like if we just attack. But I think if an opponent had a pump spell, they'd attack with everything. So I'm just going to take the 3, give myself one more turn. Gonna draw something better to trade off with the Noble. I'd prefer to do that. Macabre Waltz, getting back Captain and Ghoul. That's annoying. And the Captain is going to... Whoa, just concedes. Oh, gotta go, sadly. Oh. That's unfortunate. That would have been a pretty good game. I feel like opponent probably would have beat us, because none of our draws would make it easy to keep trading. Yeah, I think we just didn't have enough gas there. Like, we would have had to trade off Odric and all of our removal for our opponent's weak cards, and just wouldn't really have anything left over. But they have to go, so yeah, guess we'll get on to round 2. Okay, ready for round 2. And this hand looks really good. I think we're just going to curve out Inspector, Mob, and then sack the Clue, play Sanctuary on turn 3. So we do have a Crow now. We could change up our play a little bit. I don't think I like going for Sanctuary this turn, but we could maybe sacrifice the Clue instead of going for Mob. It gives us a higher chance of being able to just drop Crow on turn 3 and then maybe Geist on turn 4. And then Really Mob is potentially only 1 damage that we're missing. Though, if opponent is going to start killing off my creatures, it's nice to have the Mob in play. And we could just draw land anyway. We go for mob. I'm not sure about this one. I think we go mob and then sack a clue, and then we just curve out from there. I'm certainly happy with that. It's just if we can do better than that. I'm just going to go with the mob. Gives us a chance of actually just curving out all the way. That's very unlikely though, but it's possible. So could deadweight that. That means we're not sacking clues, so I think we need to sack the clue. If opponent has like an incorrigible use, it helps a little bit to deadweight that so it dies once opponent discards. I think we want to sack the clue though. If we get a swamp, we can deadweight it after. But looking at our hand, we're just not going to have many opportunities to sacrifice the clue at this point. Okay, just pass it back. If opponent attacks, we'll block with Inspector. I guess we could get dual shotted, which would suck. Most people don't play dual shot main though. Okay, they just passed. They're stuck on 2. We get True Faith Sensor. Definitely worth just attacking with Inspector. Well, not definitely, but it's probably worth it. Obviously, if opponent blocks, I'm fine using deadweight. It's just we might end up taking 3 damage next turn that we wouldn't have taken otherwise, or we might end up taking 1 damage. I'm okay racing because opponent's just stuck on 2, and we have a flyer out. And we also get the Odric pretty soon, so we give our whole team flying. If they have incorrigible use, they probably just main phase it. And then I guess if they did want to attack with the Bloodseeker, I'd just trade mob off for it. Or I suppose they could attack and then just try to ambush us with the use. And try to block the mob. Okay, they just discard it and play it now. Now if they attack with use, we could double block. I mean, given that we have Odric, I don't really want to trade off the Crow. We also have the Geist we could use. So we take 4, we attack back for 2, we maybe deadweight something. If we draw land, we could cast Captain and attack with everything. And from under the floorboards is going to be really good if we get up to that. That can really just hold off his whole offense. So I think I'd take it. He's stuck on 3 lands. He has a red deck, so that's a little scary, but he probably can't put too much pressure on. And if we draw a land, I can go Inspiring Captain, attack, and then leave it back to block the use next turn. And I think that's what we'll do. Though I could go Censor and put it on the Inspector. That gives me a better trade. Although then I can't attack with Inspector because the opponent could trade the Bloodseeker for it. So I'm just going to go with Captain. I guess we could just attack with the Crow. We get 2 damage in, then we prevent opponent from attacking with Bloodseeker. Like, if they discard another incorrigible use on their turn, which is unlikely, we would, in that case, we definitely want to have an extra 1/2 back. But we could also draw a land, and then from under the floorboards means it's just really, really hard to lose. So, I don't know. I mean, opponent's stuck on 3. We've got a nice endgame plan with Odric and Flyers. I guess opponent could also have the steal a creature, give it +2/+0 thing. So I'm just gonna send the Crow in, because that would be pretty bad. Like, that's 5 damage here, 9. We would take 12. Where if we leave stuff back, we're looking a lot better against that play. And we're only getting 2 damage. So I like sitting back. Okay, let's put the captain in front of the use. Well, let's see. Could also put Inspector in front if we're putting them on Rush of Adrenaline. I mean, it would kill both. If they have the +1/+1 double strike, then we're losing an extra creature, but we gain a counter with Mob, so that's not so bad. I mean, if they go for the double strike, I mean, is that bad? We get a 3/3 Mob. It's just not that bad, but I mean, they might be forced to use that here if we just do Captain. It's just if they play Rush and then play something else, that would be kind of crappy. So I think I'll put Inspector on. If they have like a Fiery Temper, I think I'm okay with that. They would have, maybe they wouldn't have used a pre-combat, but I'm gonna block with both. So if opponent was planning on just double striking anyway, then we just lost 1 creature there. But if it was Rush of Adrenaline, then I think this works out a lot better. Oh, I guess it could also be the Senseless Rage. Forgot about that. So it's not a card I see played too often. Though I mean, certainly good with the Bloodseeker. So yeah, that wrecked us pretty badly. We've got a lot of Murderous Compulsion. Well, I guess we have 2 left. So hopefully we can draw into those. But that's a card that I think I should have considered. Honestly, I just haven't had it played against me, and haven't had it played against me that much. And it's a card that I play myself. Okay. I guess since we're in combat damage, oh. Okay, might have disconnected. So, whatever, send the Mob in here. I don't really want to take a 2-for-1. I mean, I guess it stops all this madness enabling, so it's not that bad. I mean, but the Mob, consider we're getting all these tokens, the Mob is pretty nice. What else could we do? Could censor the Mob. Could play Odric and maybe just deadweight the use to just slow down a little bit. And then Censor could give everything Vigilance and Flying. I think it's floorboards, though. So floorboards, I mean, what else can they do with the Bloodseeker that hurts us? Could have more things. But I think I want to keep them... I mean, they do have to take a 2-for-1 as well. I'll send the Mob in. Honestly, they're probably not going to trade here. They're probably just going to take it. Like, they don't know I have from under the floorboards, so they're thinking they can probably race. Nope. I guess they block. Okay, Geist Blast. And we got the Nearheath Chaplain in the graveyard. So we can get some spirits. Also might turn on our Apothecary Geist. But, okay, they leave back the youths, so... wish this was a Dauntless Cathar. So, we'd probably just play Geist. Could also equip Censor to a zombie. Nah, I don't really like that play. So it's probably just Geist and then Odric next turn. And if we go for Geist, probably should just deadweight the youths. Or we could play Censor. Actually, playing Censor seems really good, because we can go Odric and then equip Censor next turn. Maybe we should just drop Odric first. I mean, the math works better if we drop Odric first, so maybe I should end that. And then also, because Odric's a human, we'd rather equip it with the Censor next turn, so we'd get multiple extra damage in if we go Odric first. I was just thinking I didn't want to expose the Odric yet. Considering if they do kill the Geist, we still have the Chaplain from the graveyard to give us flying. Seems safe enough though. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So if they have Fiery Temper, then like it disrupts this attack. But I'm okay with that. So let's put this on. I'm thinking just Odric, like it protects it, say next turn from Fiery Temper. Could have just put it on Geist. Like if there is a Fiery Temper, then we get extra damage in. This opponent would use it on Odric on our beginning of combat step. Yeah, we'll just use it on Geist. And no reason to deadweight pre-combat. So a bunch of flying damage comes in, and I think we just deadweight. Prevents against a big double strike plus trample kind of thing that could maybe somehow kill us if they have the perfect combination of cards. So now it's really tough for opponent because they've got to kill the Odric because we have the Chaplain in the graveyard, and if they don't, like we have 3 power flying plus a bunch of zombies, so I don't think there's anything they can do. Sure. Not dying to that. Okay, on to game 2. So we saw some Artifact Enchantment Pump, Geist Blast, they have the Bloodseeker with Madness, the red-white equipment, Spectre. They're probably just like red-white beatdown and just have some synergy there with the Madness. The Vampire Noble gets better here since it can trade with the youths, or it goes well against the Bloodseeker. So I think I'll go with that over Expose Evil. We could also cut another creature, so we could cut I like Inquisitor. Yeah, that seems fine. I think Unruly Mob is okay here. It was pretty good that game. Though unlikely to become like a 5/5, like a real threat or anything. But it just costs 2 mana, so you don't need to expect too much out of it. And we're on the draw. I'll keep this hand. Compulsion plays well if you're just stuck on 2 lands, if you fall behind. Potentially we could Pale Rider into Compulsion if we draw some lands here and then we've got turn 3 Crow if we draw one land, and also have Odric, one of the best cards in our deck. You could Pale Rider, discarding Cavalry here, but I think I just want to wait. Well, opponent's stuck on lands. I mean, I'll go with Crow, but knowing that, and wow, 2 dead draws off the top, so that's good. But I mean, at least at the moment they're stuck. Knowing that, I wouldn't mind getting Pale Rider out there and start beating down. And I think that's what I'm going to do. So, attack with Crow, Pale Rider, and my first thought is Cavalry is just so expensive. On the other hand, we could just discard Compulsion, thinking that we're just playing aggressive this game. But I don't know, if things swap around, we still have Under the Floorboards and Odric. That seems close, but I'm going to discard Cavalry. I mean, there's a chance that we don't even get up to 7 mana this game. Oh, crap. I clicked the wrong one. Well, so yeah, so we should definitely discard Compulsion because Cavalry, it's a great late game threat, and if something goes wrong, we flat out too hard, we'll have Cavalry and that'll win us the game. Sounds good? Cool. Alright, so there's a Gargoyle out right now. If we deadweight the Gargoyle, the mob's going to be a 2/2 and then could get larger from there. So I think we just deadweight the mob and then keep attacking with both. And if we could also just hold the deadweight there. Our opponent could double block trade with the Pale Rider, which I don't like that right now. Like, I want to push damage in, before opponent draws into more mana, and they just concede. So, yeah. So glad we put the pressure on. I mean, I did wait. I didn't play the Pale Rider on turn 2 because I wasn't quite ready yet. But once we saw that they missed a land drop, I think then it was right to just put the pressure on. So yeah, on to the finals. Okay, ready for the finals. And we'll keep this. And it's 5 lands, but both the cards we have are pretty strong. And, for being a bit flooded, I think Chaplain's a good card. And I can almost see drawing first with this deck. Didn't really consider it there, but considering that we have the 3 Murderous Compulsions, I think our deck plays pretty well from behind. So just drawing and letting our opponent take initiative and then getting access to these cheap removal spells, I think could actually be a good idea. And obviously this hand currently, we're on the play, but I don't think we're really going to be able to take advantage of that. And could get destroyed by some werewolves. So Mage is not a big problem. Though it plays pretty well against Puncturing Light, I suppose. We'll probably go for a light, but Combat Trick makes it deal a little extra damage, and drawn a couple more lands. I think we should probably just Puncturing Light it. If we take removals, or we take a pump spell, I think that's okay. But we just might not have that many good opportunities to use it, and the Mage does trade with her Chaplain, so I don't mind going 1-for-1 against it. So we've drawn all lands since our opening hand. That's pretty unfortunate. Hopefully we can draw something like Call the Bloodline or the Drug Skull Cavalry. so we can make use of them. And I'll probably play lands up to turn 6, like up to 6 lands in play, just in case if I draw cavalry, I can play it with the 7th. So if opponent attacks with Wolf, I mean, I should probably just take it. You know, I could have the Howl Pack. We did see one going late in the draft, so probably ended up with the Werewolf Drafter. Plus I can't block. I mean, maybe they just have all lands in hand and I get to get one attack in. I mean, obviously I'd be happy to race these back and forth. It's a race that I'm winning. And, you know, yeah, I get some flyers back when I trade, so that's a good deal. But I have time. This is my last way to deal 3 damage that I have access to right now. So I think taking 3 is right. I mean, maybe I'll just end up making this trade next turn, but I think that's okay. So Byway Courier, maybe we can get a... Well, if I'm hoping for cards, there's certainly cards I'm hoping for more than Deadweight, but we did get Call of Bloodline, so that's quite nice here. So the Chaplain, I mean, I'm definitely going to play my 5th land. Now, I'd prefer to trade the Chaplain with the Wolf at this point. Since Call, I could get, you know, 2 1/1s could hold off the Courier instead of the Wolf. But I would like to get my 1/1 flyers now, so I think I am just going to trade off Chaplain. So had we blocked, it would have turned out a little better for us. I mean, unless if they still have the Howl Pack, and then we would have gotten wrecked. So I'll make the 1/1 flyers, and then play Call. And now that we have Call, I don't think I'm going to play any more lands. Like, I was planning on going up to 6, but Cavalry is just a little too unlikely at this point. Okay, so there's a Wolf here. I mean, if they have the Howl Pack, they only have 2 cards in hand right now, so I don't know if I can play around it at this point. If I take the damage, they might just sack their Clue token. And then potentially I could just trade off the Vampire tokens later, but I feel like the Vampire tokens, in the long run, might actually be better than the Spirit tokens, because I could maybe just race with them. The lifelink, like if I go wide, they might not be being more valuable than flying creatures. So I'm going to double block here. If they have Howl Pack, I mean, Howl Pack is really going to hurt against all my 1/1s no matter what. So, but them pumping to trade, I'm pretty happy with. They can't sack the Clue that turn. So Inspiring Captain, I kind of like getting extra life out of that, so I think I'm just going to discard Call this turn. I guess the one risk is if they just play a big creature next turn. But I like just discarding a Call here, then next turn, or on opponent's turn, discarding the Call, and I'll see what I draw. But I could go for Captain and then, you know, drain for 4 life. So it might get more damage than going for Captain here. And also should give me more life. Looks like opponent's flooding out a little bit, and that's what we're hoping for. And they do have a Clue token. So another Howl Pack Wolf, that means that they can block now. So that's unfortunate. It means we can't really do that Captain play. So assuming we don't draw anything else, the plan's probably just play captain, sit back, and then just keep making vampires. Ooh, that's great. That's really good. Oh no, we can, well, yeah, we can discard it to call. I think that's worth it. Otherwise, we can play the land and just play our hand out and get in for 4 lifelink, but I think this is probably going to work better. Now, opponent easily could have a big creature for next turn to stop us from making this attack, but they also might not. So, oh, and we do get to attack for 2 drain as well. So we discard Compulsion, use it on the wolf. That means that the other wolf can't block, and that lets us get in for 2 damage. And then when we go up for captain the next time, we're going to have 4 vampires in play, so that's going to be even better. So I really hope if they brick out with this clue in their next draw, then we just get a free attack, get to drain for 8. Or, yeah, drain for 8. And that could make it hard to lose this game. Like, we're going to have so much life, and then Spiteful Motives or something. Oh, okay, Howlpack Resurgence. I mean, honestly, that's a good sign at this point, because it means it's less likely that they actually have a follow-up creature to block. Deathcap Cultivator, I mean, that's totally fine. So, we're going to get a really nice attack in next turn. And Bound by Moonsilver is great. So as soon as opponent's able to start coming back, we can just bound something big. And opponent probably has to trade here. And they do. Now if opponent plays another big wolf and then leaves both back, then that shuts down our offense for a little bit. But every card we draw is at least a 1/1 vampire, so we're still looking good. Like this, they have the Howlpack out, and that's going to give them a pretty good late game with all their creatures being bigger, but like this should work out better for us. An Unruly Mob, that's also got some potential. Hopefully there's no Pack Wolf, Pack Guardian. Well, let's go for Mob pre-combat, just in case. Looks like, okay, Innistrad. Well, they could have done that before the mob came out, so that's good for us. So we drain for 3 here, and we'll just pass. Thraben Inspector, that's really nice. Gives us 1 extra creature, which is good for a mob and just our swarm strategy, and then the clue token we can sack to just make another vampire at least. 1, 2, 1, 2. I think we'll just attack. Play Inspector post combat. One of my students recently asked me about how good Call the Bloodline is in a deck that has no madness. If you just consider the card in a vacuum, like how powerful is the effect? Like if this was potentially in another format that didn't have ways to abuse it. And I mean, so far I think that like just the effect, being able to turn any card in your hand into a 1/1 lifelinker is pretty powerful. And while I could see cutting it from decks that have no, particular use for it. I think, I mean, this game we did Madness a card, but that wasn't too important. But just being able to go wide and have the ability to just make a bunch of lifelinkers can be good to race. Okay, so we got the Swamp. We can just discard that, make another lifelinker. Okay, yeah, opponent just drew lands. Now, yeah, I mean uh, they definitely could have been a little luckier that game, because they were really far ahead early. We flooded out so hard. We got really unlucky, drawing 3 lands in a row after keeping a 5-land hand. So all they needed was just like one more big creature. It's like one more werewolf, and it would have put us under a lot of pressure, and the game would have gone a lot differently. But we got the Call of Bloodline, and when you look at what they played, like nothing was really that strong. So, I mean, we'll see what else they have in their deck, but they didn't draw any large creatures. So Expose Evil should be pretty good against, they should have some fatties. And none of these seem too important. Vampire Noble, I mean, other than his Howlpack Resurgence, it does trade with 3/3s. So that gains a little extra value, maybe over something like... I think the Inquisitor, since we've got equipment, makes it close. But, yeah, being able to trade with the 3/3, as long as we're not hit with the Howlpack Resurgence, I think might make it better. Maybe better than Unruly Mob. But we could do a lot of just chumping and making Mob bigger, so I'll just run it back. So, another marginal hand, but I think from another floorboards is strong enough. We could definitely get run over with this start, but hoping not to draw 3 lands straight again. But the reason why I'm keeping is I've got a pretty solid 3-drop. I guess the question is, if he has the 3/3 on turn 3, then this doesn't cut it. But from under the floorboards can definitely stall the game out. So even if we flood a bit, we should still be okay. So I think it's better than mulliganing. I guess against werewolves, I was saying how I was thinking maybe being on the draw would be better, but against werewolves, you don't really want to be on the draw. Because if they get out one of their cheap werewolves too soon, we drew 3 lands in a row again. You could definitely be in trouble if they go like turn 1 or turn 2 werewolf that can flip. You really want to be in the play in that situation. 4th land in a row. I mean, certainly scared of Pack Guardian here. Like, we didn't see it, it's an uncommon, so to begin with it's kind of unlikely, but the opponent just kept a hand and then just played 4 lands. So, I mean, what kind of hand did they keep? Maybe they have some removal, maybe just like 5 drops. I mean, you gotta think that if they didn't have a 4-drop in their hand, like, what hand are they keeping? But you could keep like Pack Guardian and something else. I mean, this is something that, like, I make some kind of crazy plays every once in a while. I mean, the thing is, if they have Pack Guardian and I sit back, like, I guess I'm looking okay if that's the case. I just wish I had more going on, or I had like some way to deal with a Pack Guardian. I mean, can I avoid this 2 damage here? I think I'm going to give him 1 turn here. I think, like, if they do have Pack Guardian, I think that there's a lot of value in keeping the Inquisitor around. And I just don't know about them keeping a hand with just a 5-drop. Wow. Well, I mean, I can't say that I know that was the right play, but I feel pretty good about that one. I don't feel good about them attacking with the wolf next turn. I mean, they're attacking into open mana, so You know, I mean, this really looks like Howlpack Resurgence. They didn't play it on turn 3, which I think they would have had they had it. And it could also be like a Spiteful Motives. You know, I have mana up, I can represent something. So it seems like they would only attack if it's something that they're not risking a card to win the trade. So it's probably Howlpack Resurgence. I mean, maybe if my opponent's actually very smart, they could think, well, they just played around Pack Guardians, so they're probably gonna, you know, play around Howlpack Resurgence here. But you know, I think I'm just taking it again. So if I go front of the floorboards, like if it is Howlpack Resurgence, then having the Inquisitor around with the front of the floorboards could help me out a decent amount. So I'm gonna take it. You know, I was right one time. I certainly could be wrong on this one. But I think once I go from under the floorboards, I gain the life back. I'm just not in as bad of a spot. So we have Captain. Let's go for floorboards. And again, I feel like, you know, they didn't go for Resurgence on turn 3, so like, you know, their attack makes it look like they maybe just drew it. They, you know, had 2 turns there to have just drawn it. That makes it less likely. So Ember Eye Wolf. So yeah, we'll just block Ember Eye Wolf. So if it's Resurgence, they'll just bump. It is Resurgence, okay. So we're at 6. I mean, you know, probably just losing anyway. This opponent has trample on their wolf and everything else. Let's just pass. So, I mean, the thing about making reads like that is, you know, yeah, like in my head I had this feeling based on how they were playing that they had certain cards and I decided to play around them, and I was right that they had those cards. But the other important thing is, you know, if they have those cards and you play around them, are you going to win? And in both of those situations, I felt like I was like I had a decent chance of winning if I played around them. It's just when they threw these other werewolves on top, which, you know, they didn't play anything until turn 4, so I didn't expect them to go, you know, werewolf immediately after. But yeah, you just have to make sure that you're not still going to lose. So block, 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 and block. That's 1, and then we're taking too much, so we'll concede. But I mean, I definitely feel good about those reads. But you know, that sometimes, you know, playing well isn't all that, you know, it doesn't just win you the game by itself. So for game 3, the ghoul could be okay. Let's see, does noble change? I mean, it seems like the 2/3 isn't quite the right size against the opponent's deck. I kind of think that the 3/2 would be a little better. And then the ghoul maybe would be worth it, but let's just do this. And I think because of what I said, we'll play first, though. I'll give it another second to think about it. Yeah, I think we want to play. I don't know. We didn't see any 1 or 2 drop werewolves. We saw 1 3-drop werewolf that flips. So, I mean, it might not be that bad to just be on the draw. We've got the 3 compulsions. So I'm gonna try going on the draw. I'm not sure about this, but with this hand, I think being on the draw is a little bit better because of the compulsion. It does slow down our like Geist plus Odric combo a little bit, but it is a good hand. So we've got the Noble. Hopefully we're not facing Wolf into Howlpack. But also if we miss a land drop, then being on the draw is going to be a lot better. Okay, Graph Mole. So we would have hit the land, so looks like being on the play would have been a little bit better. So let's go for Vampire Noble. And if opponent doesn't have removal, then this game is going to be really easy to win. So I think we basically just want to sequence our plays such that they're going to use removal spells before I play Odric. But also maybe try to get the combo going quickly. So those are the two things we're going to try to balance. So thinking just Geist, and next turn we go for Odric and just attack with everything. I mean, see if they have the answer. If they have Fiery Temper here, they're probably just killing the Geist. Dance with Devils, okay. Yeah, Devils aren't that scary here. I mean, opponent might just kind of take their time developing their board here. Sort of looks like that's what they're doing. And a Quilled Wolf. So we can go Odric, attack with everything. We'll just take the hit from the Devil if they attack. They don't. And call the Bloodline. That's cool too. So we can also just go for Chaplain, and then Odric next turn, and then attack Lifelink Flying. It gives us one more turn for opponent to use a removal spell. It raises their life to a little bit. We go Odric, we attack for 6, they swing for a decent amount, they kill Odric if they can, but, I mean, a Rabid Bite doesn't do it, so I don't even know how well I'm going to be able to block next turn anyway, so I'm kind of thinking about just going to Odric and slam. Yeah, let's do that. So, and with everything, we're just not blocking on opponent's turn. We don't want the Devil to die, and we don't want to get hit by a combat trick, so we're going to give them one big attack. So it gets a 5, so if they have the reduce, that's like the one thing that gets us, where if we went for Chaplain first, we'd be a little better off. On the other hand, I mean, if we go for Chaplain and they reduce it, and then we play Odric and give Flying, we're not necessarily winning the race in that case. Like, we look pretty good there, but it's not for sure. So it looks like they have Howlpack, probably. That's why they're not attacking with Mage, maybe. Maybe they're planning on killing the Flyer. I mean, it's interesting that they're keeping some creatures back here. Given that they can't block. Okay, Rabid Bite on Unruly Mob. So that means they don't have Howlpack Resurgence. And and Rabid Bite on Odric. That sucks. So from here, that's very unfortunate. We probably want to call and Compulsion. And probably want to kill the Wolf. They have one card in hand, so they could just have a 6 land, and then Wolf is going to be really annoying to deal with. They probably don't have too many clue cards, so the Mole isn't that bad. probably attack for 2. We can also go call and then wait till opponent's turn to use compulsion. I think that looks really nice because we can block the wolf, force them to activate it, and then use it. Noble trade for devil. It doesn't seem great, so I guess we'll keep noble back, and I think Geist should probably go in. It might just be 2 damage for 2 damage, so that's kind of close. Because I'm not sure if we're probably going to win this race. I'm just not sure if we want to ramp it up or slow it down. Let's try the attack. Actually, I changed my mind. I think having the Geist back to put on the Quilled Wolf next turn makes for a better situation to use the compulsion. This is an awkward spot. I probably just put the noble in front of the wolf and then discard to compulsion the Graph Mole. We get to see what opponent does first. I think I like that better than just using call to block a devil token. Blocking a devil token is nice because opponent can't actually take advantage of that this turn. But we might even be able to just attack back for lifelink the next turn, and so that might still be okay. Alright, let's try this. And then waiting on the call means that we have a little more time before we have to use the compulsion. So if opponent has some cool pump spell here. I guess since they went for double Rabbit Bite, they could still have Howlpack Resurgence. Okay, they have Resurgence. So we let that resolve. I'll let this happen. So if opponent doesn't do anything, then I think I kill the Graph Mole. Could still kill the Quilled Wolf and keep the Noble, but I feel like the 2/4 is probably better than the 3/2. Yeah, I'm taking 1 extra damage, which doesn't change the math really. And another compulsion. That's really nice. So let's attack with both, and I think just cast the Chaplain. It's always best to just trade off with a devil when you only have one toughness creature in play. But let's just get a board going. We got the 2 damage every turn from the Geist, so we're winning that battle. So if opponent just wants to sit back for a while, send 1 devil in, keep 1 back, it's a race that we're winning. Plus, opponent could flood out, and we don't have any dead draws because of the Call of Bloodline. So they attack with both. I'm I'm definitely just going to take both of it. I'm a little surprised by that. I feel like maybe they just drew a big creature. Hermit. Okay, I'm totally fine with that. We could EOT make a vampire, but we're not attacking with it, so I'll just wait. Wow, Expose Evil is really nice. I do not hate just Expose Evil, attack with everything. I think that's what I'll do. And if they have an aim high, we could even discard Compulsion in response. So everything in, and I think I just make another token and Compulsion the Hermit. Takes away a pretty good blocker. And get 1 more creature. So we still have the Geist.
The opponent really needs to find an answer to that. And then they have 3 creatures back, we have 3 creatures back, so we're even there. And if they kill the chaplain, we can make some more 1/1 flyers. Okay, Builder doesn't do anything. And their last card, Forge Master, doesn't do anything. So now we're looking great. Pale Rider, probably sacrifice a clue. We could attack with, well, Chaplain just dies to the Forge Master. I mean, it's not very special. Let's start sacking a clue. I mean, getting extra flyers is kind of nice. Like, if opponent draws 1 removal spell next turn, then that lets us win. Maybe we should do that. It's just we don't actually gain life off the Chaplain because of the Forge Master. And then opponent would be at 1, we'd have a 2/3 flyer and 2 1/1 flyers. So as long as they don't draw Watcher, the 2/5 reach, that can block everything, then we would win. I mean, that's maybe the only card they could draw there, so I certainly like those odds. If we go for like the little more value-y play of just sitting, like just attack for 2, sack clue, play out the rest of my hand, that's still going to win a lot of the time. But then 1 removal spell slows us down, and the game goes a little longer. So let's just go for this attack, and then we can go for Pale Rider or go for more like call tokens or threaten the clue sack. And I think I'm going to do Pale Rider. Block some of his creatures pretty well. I guess it's like 1/1/1 lifelink, or 2 1/1 lifelinks versus a 3/3 with Skulk. So which is better? It's possible just 2 more lifelinkers are better. So I think they probably are. That said, we could just make one on our turn and go for next turn, and I think we do that. Let's just make one on our turn. Guess we could also play the Swamp. We could just play the Swamp, play Pale Rider. It doesn't die, like it just comes into play if you don't have another land. So that's kind of a cool play too. We get an extra land out of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, attack with everything. So I think we do like Pale Rider on the Forge Master, or maybe just there. 1 Vampire on this. So this is, we don't die to the double strike. So I think these are sufficient. And it also plays pretty well against if they did draw Watcher, because I just take out the Builder, I get to keep the Pale Rider. Alright, so yeah, that was pretty awesome last match. Okay. So the opponent did have Resurgence on turn 3, and they didn't play it. And yeah, they didn't really curve out too well in these games. Which, yeah, they probably have the potential to do. I mean, they have the Forge Master, the Hermit. 5 1-drops. Wow. I wouldn't have suspected that. Alright, cool. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I mean, I guess like, going back to the Pack Guardian moment, which I think was the most like crazy spot. I don't know, because I'd like to teach how you can decide whether, like, when you get a read like that. I can't say I can just tell you how to get that read, and I guess the way to do it for that particular situation was just opponent kept their hand, and it's turn 4. They haven't played anything. Unless if your opponent is just not thinking, like what possible hand could they have kept that didn't have at least a strong 4-drop. So in that sense, I mean, it kind of seems obvious when you look at it that way. But it's also hard to just not attack around an uncommon that you haven't seen. So I don't know. Hopefully, going over my thought process, during that spot helps you out a little bit. And if you have that strong read, like, go with it and see if you were right. You don't want to be too results oriented, because even in that spot where I was right, there will surely be some times when the person just didn't have anything and I lost 2 damage. So it's not an 100% thing. Even if you can logically decide that they have to have a Pack Guardian, doesn't mean that you're even 100%. But I do recommend go with those reads if you feel them and see what happens. And like, I've done that over my Magic career, and over time, I found that I'm like right more than more than I'm wrong. And every time you just check yourself, think back to why you made that decision, and decide, like, was it really good logic to go for it there, or were you just seeing was it monsters under the bed? But yeah, so hope you learned something about that. Hope you enjoyed the videos, and I will see you next time.